All right, you're welcome back and hope you were well inspired with Heart to Heart Inspirational with my very co-host Ramsey Enokagbo. And at about this time is the newspaper review segment. And we're going to start with the first paper of the day. It's the Punch newspaper. And above the nameplate, it says 2027, Makinde picks ex-DSS DG Daura as running mate, rallies opposition. And if you're wondering where that read is all about, that's on page 8 on the Punch newspaper. Beside the nameplate on page 8 again, it says 2027, Abiodun Daniel trade fresh blows over political allegiance. And basically, that is on page 8, like I mentioned before. And the star read on the Punch says, GovPo, police lockdown Oshun, DIG, 30 CPs deployed. And there are 3 riders there. The first one says, police say 34 illegal guns seized, helicopter drone units on surveillance across state. Army to seal state border from midnight, mobile court ready for offenders. And it says 1 killed, 2 injured as Tinubu vows peaceful election. INEC urges parties to honor peace accord. They should. And of course, on page 28 on the Punch, it says State Police Bill, Presidency extends public submission to August 21st. And on page 5, it says Edo records 70 child defilement cases, fathers top offenders. And you're wondering, what are these fathers thinking? Are you kidding me? And of course, that read is on page 5 on the Punch newspaper. Basically, those are all the major headlines on the Punch newspaper. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well informed with the issues making rounds. Next paper, over to you, Ramsey.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get to the next paper for you this morning, and which is the next paper, Blueprint newspaper, of course. Let's look at the blueprint for you this morning. On the Blueprint newspaper, the star story says Oshun Paul Adeleke Oyebamiji, 84-year-old retired principal, Yemisi, 84-year-old. This paper is coming. And 12 others vie for 1.9 million votes in Oshun. Right. Why would they have to include the age of the retired principal? You didn't tell us the age of Adeleke and Oyebamiji, but you said, well, Blueprint, I think you need to answer this question. Oh, media. All right, some riders to that story. The first rider says Tinubu assures of security, Accord Party faction, endorses APC. Adeleke campaign team seek transparency. Please change personnel on neutrality. ICPC recovers 24 billion naira from ghost workers, over 900 accounts forfeited. And above the nameplate, all right, okay, that story is personal, so I don't have to take that. All right, more headlines from the Blueprint newspaper. We have more just at the footer. We have this one before I get to the footer. Northwest unites against terrorism, seek improved welfare for security personnel. It's very important. And one rider, we need more than military action to tackle insecurity. That is a statement attributed to Idris. All right, deep offshore incentives will accelerate investment growth. A flood submerged several houses in Lafia. 7 killed in Plateau, 9 collapse. Mine collapse. Well, I thought it's only in FCT. I did a report to that effect yesterday. That rain was massive. Don't include Benue in national ranching policy. Catholic priest tell federal government. If you want to know why, pick a copy of the Blueprint. Mbatos Enugu International Hospital says we are ready for the world. National Policing Bill, federal government extends submission of memoranda to August 21. And those are the headlines for you on the Blueprint newspaper this morning. As we move to the next point of call.
And the next point of call is the Daily Sun. And Beside the nameplate of the Daily Sun on page 9, it says Governor Makinde, APM presidential candidate, picks former DSS DG Lawan Daura as running mate. And that read you will find on page 9. Now below the nameplate, it says Customs links cannabis to acute physiocosis, severe cardiovascular distress. And on page 27 on the Daily Sun, it says ex-CDS NHRC amnesty demand action against Fadusi Jengir. And we have 3 riders there. It says their unguarded statements should not be tolerated. Senators remark must not go unpunished. That's amnesty. We must guard against igniting Rwanda-style violence in Nigeria. And for me, I completely agree, and that's from the NHRC. And that read, if you're wondering what that is all about, you have to flip over to page 27 of the Daily Sun. Now below the foot of the Daily Sun, it says Oshu election, Accord, APC, ADC, others in final push. And the writer says tension persists. CSOs urge INEC security agencies to safeguard democracy. IPAC charges voters to protest mandate, demands professionalism from security operatives. And that's on page 6. The next read on page 25 says TSC FG gives airlines 1 week to submit repayment plans. And the writer says union must have access to all airline workers, distribute membership forms. And on page 4 on the Daily Sun, it says tragedy as pit collapse kills 7 miners in Plateau. Very sad read there. And that's on page 4. And on page 26 on the Daily Sun, it says NAFDAC sets new safety rules for blood products. And basically, those are all the major headlines on the Daily Sun. Go out to get yourself a copy and be well informed with the issues making rounds. Next, we have the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, let's quickly go to the Nigerian News Direct and see the headlines that we have for you this morning. All right, from the Nigerian News Direct, let me begin from above the nameplate. This one says OGD, Kashamu follows a line with Abiodun's APC structure in Ogun. Aradel to commence petrol production by 2027. Ayedatiwa assents to Ondo Power Sector Law. I think a time is coming in this country that we will not need to bother about power anymore. All right. Customs rescue 2 lions cubs, intercept trafficking ring at Abuja Airport. Airtel surpasses 17,000 cell sites nationwide. Tinubu assents to NPERA bills, PERA bills. If you want to know what it means, go to page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct. And those are the headlines for you on the Nigerian News Direct this morning as we move to the next point of call, which is The Guardian.
All right, now the Guardian newspaper below the nameplate on page 3, it says refineries will work again, make profit. Tinubu pledges amid failed $2.9 billion rehabilitation. And on page 3 it says ICPC recovers 24 billion naira from ghost workers, over 900 accounts forfeited. And then on page 3 it says 2027 Makinde picks DSS ex-DG Daura as running mate, advocates party alliance. And the big story there, it says Osun 2026, and you'll find that read on page 4 and 5. And it says, will 1.9 million electorate win? And here it says Coalition 6 closure of terrorist reintegration program. That's on page 26. And of course on page 29, it says military launches offensive against Lakurawa, others in Northwest. And here on page 6, it says NHRC Action Age raise concern over hate speech disputes ahead of 2027 polls. SEC orders freeze of asset linked to 9 terrorist financiers. And that's on page 7. And at the foot of The Guardian newspaper, it says presidential group extends deadline for contributions to national policing bill. That's on page 7. And on the foot again, it says, this is a report now, and it says unemployment limited opportunities pushing 73% of Nigerian youths abroad. And that's from the business page, and that's on page 18 on the Guardian. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well informed to avoid fake news. Next, we have the Daily Independent.
All right, on the Daily Independent, Tinubu vows to revive Nigeria's refinery. This is a story we've been hearing for a very long time, but we believe in the president. Something can be done. If these refineries are working and we have enough competition, I don't think we would be where we are today.
Very true.
It has to do with fuel scarcity. Gas is not obtainable. People using gas are finding it very difficult these days. All right, the Daily Independent, Daily Independence, not Daily Trust, Daily Independent for you this morning. On Daily Independence, Tinubu vows to revive refineries. All right, those are headlines that we really need to talk about. 7 dead as mining pit collapse in Plateau community. Who are the miners? Air peace picketing. Union's unction exposes critical flaws in airport security. One writer to that story, and it says, experts blame NCAA fine over coerce flight destruction. ICPC exposes officials who put 14 family members on government's payroll. Reps demand urgent action over reverse gas seepage, Delta oil spill. Details read on page 7. NETI audit triggers finance ministry, NNPCL clash over $3 billion, $722 million. U.S. Fiscal Transparency Report doesn't reflect full scope of reforms presidency. A federal government targets 80% practical agric education in polytechnics colleges of education. Then, of course, the big story, alleged threats. Osun seeks court order compelling IGP to investigate Father Osi. I won't write to that story. Amnesty International vows to make an example of him. Wow, this thing is going beyond what we think at the moment. But then Amnesty International, coming into the whole thing now, is taking a different turn altogether. All right, last from here, which is from the footer. That story says PDP, that is the People's Democratic Party, backs Adeleke for Osun Guba polls. It was one of them, of course, so I'm not surprised. And that takes us to the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper. Has Punch been taken?
Yes, the
Punch
Daily
has
Trust.
been taken.
We'll take the
All right,
Daily
let's
Trust.
go to Daily Trust now. Daily Trust came before Daily Times, but now it's your time.
All right, now the Daily Trust, and below the nameplate on page 19, it says nearly half of Nigerian households suffering job losses, and that's a report. And on page 19, it says Makinde picks ex-DSS DG Lawan Daura as running mate, and that particular headline has been making round in all the other papers that we've read. And on page 6, it says refineries will work again, and that's from our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And hopefully they work again because it will create lots of job opportunities. It will create, for as much as the source of livelihood of Nigerians will douse a bit, and that will go a long way. And the Star story on the Daily Trust says, Osun poll, APC campaign, DG's nephew killed. Another shot, and that's some very sad read there. And below the foot of the paper, it says how 7 miners died in Plateau pit collapse. And below that, it says flood destroys houses in Nasarawa, Niger, and that's on page 7. And on page 17, it says police recover baby stolen from Benue Hospital, arrest suspect. Fantastic. And on page 7, it says man allegedly kills friend over tire cover. Wow. Wow. Is that enough to take a life? Are you kidding me?
That's a serious situation.
Okay.
That's a very serious one.
Yes, it is.
Something must be wrong somewhere.
Yes, it is. And of course, still on the paper now. That's all on the paper. And hope you get yourself a copy of the Daily Trust to be well abreast. And then we have the Punch Sports Extra. And Ramsey will run us through. He's the sports guy here. Right, Ramsey?
All right, Sport Extra.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's quickly go through that. All right, so much here on the papers. Okay, on the Sport Extra this morning, we have some very striking one. Disaster. Banyama and Falcons 35-year World Cup journey. I know our ladies are not happy about this, but then 35 years is a long time. Arsenal open Osimhen talks as Galatasaray rejects Al Hilal offer. Lookman gets Atletico's number 11 jersey. All right, Etihad. Besiktas set to begin Ndidi talks. Awoni link with Rizespor. I think most of these players are in the market. Joshua Fury fight hits stumbling block. PSG seal Torres deal. Wow, that's a good one. It's a good place to be. Napoli turned to Jesus after Lukaku's exit. All right, Jackson ready to snub Villa. Frenching balls, Samuel wins silver for Nigeria. Murillo wants Madrid stars over what? Pick a copy and you know what he's talking about. Dolphins set for WBPL title defense. And from the world of cricket, Nigeria seal World Cup qualifiers promotion. That's beautiful. Of course, you can pick a copy of the Sport Extra to know what is happening from the world of sport. That's a very fantastic one. You will enjoy it. All right. These are the headlines for you this morning from the national dailies. It's a delight to inform you that Global Television does not have editorial contribution to any of these headlines. It's entirely that of the newspaper houses. All right, at this point, we will go on a quick break, after which we will return with the first story. But before then, Ogochukwu Mobono is standing by for Social Buzz.
And we bring you when social media speaks. We listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk. Only on Global TV.
Sets ablaze apartment after accusing boyfriend of cheating. A woman allegedly sets a rented apartment on fire after accusing her boyfriend of cheating. The incident reportedly occurred in Kabusa Garden Estate, Abuja, over the weekend. A resident of the estate who narrated the incident in a Facebook post on Tuesday explained that the trouble started when the man returned home around midnight. His girlfriend accused him of cheating on her own another woman. The woman allegedly threatened him with a knife, but he managed to escape, locking the door behind him. The woman allegedly dismantled the air conditioning unit in the apartment, gathered all the man's personal belongings, and set them on fire. Not done, she poured fuel all over the apartment and set it on fire. Estate security and residents quickly mobilized to extinguish the fire and prevent it from spreading to other parts of the property. According to her, the couple has been living in the estate for barely 5 months, and security personnel had previously intervened in a similar violent confrontation between the couple last month. Let's take a look at that video.
Let him bring that my food. You allow me to run. He's coming outside there to say that me I cannot even move.
He's running.
Because then I came down, but he can't move. He came out and said, me, I destroyed you.
All right, this is a situation we'll get to ask, is it by force to actually date someone? And when you see that someone is violent, try as much as possible to escape any form of it or having this kind of altercation with this person. Just 5 months living together and a lot has been happening. These are signs, and if you neglect these signs, like they say on social media, you will see wonders later. To that young man, my advice is it is better if you separate. If you have had this altercation before, you've had this back and forth, this form of argument, please try as much as possible to study the person that you're with. If the person is a violent person, whenever you have an argument, please stay away from that person. According to the report, a similar thing had happened earlier, but this time around, it's a different case where the house is set ablaze, alongside some of his properties, valuables for that matter. Where the one that happened earlier was where one of the security guards even had to intervene in the issue. 5 months of living together, boyfriend and girlfriend. This is not husband and wife. I think that's the reason why they tell you sometimes, live with this person. When you are dating or having in courtship, please try to live with this person for a couple of time, maybe a month, few weeks. You get to know this person for yourself. It's way beyond date night and lunch or brunch that you have, or sitting together or walking hand by hand, holding each other's hand and all of that. It's way beyond that. When you live with this person inside one roof, under one roof, and you are studying this person, you get to know this person's characters, you get to know where the person wake up, how confident the person is. You get to see a lot of things. Some men will tell you, I want to see my woman without makeup, let me know who I am dating, because they've seen so much of this makeup and they don't even know how the real face of their girlfriend or wife is. So please live with this person before you get married to this person. This is just 5 months and a lot has happened. A rented apartment for that matter. Right now on social media, everyone is just all about the landlord. Landlord is coming for you, according to one of the comments I saw earlier on social media. She said, don't worry, sit back and wait for landlord. And someone said this is going to be a head girl in Kirikiri. A lot of things have been speculated, but this person needs to be arrested for that crime, for her crime. And maybe the guy also question him and let's know what exactly led to this kind of form of violence. It is very, very wrong. Guys, please watch the ladies you date, and ladies too, watch the male man you date, because we've seen men being violent and also seen women being violent. But is violence actually the answer? When you have issues, when you are arguing, when you have a problem, is violence the right way to go? Please, let's think about it one more time. All right, I wish we had like someone that has to talk about this when it comes to, I know Juma is always the right person when it comes to, topical issues like this, human angle issues, where she has to talk about relationship and all of that, marriages. But do not worry, we'll also have to engage her one of these days, of course, when it comes to social buzz on Global Morning. Yes, and this is the set of our conversation today on Global Morning. I'll be leaving in the hands of the Global Morning crew as they usher us into the discussion section of Global Morning. You know that we are expecting the great Osun election. Like I always call it great Osun election because it has been back to back news and updates when it comes to Osun election. So it's just tomorrow. Tomorrow is the D-Day, 15th of August, and all fingers crossed, all hands on deck. Everyone is glued to their TV. We are going to be bringing you live update as happening in Osun State. Osun State is not far from us at all when it comes to live feeds. So we're going to be bringing you those live feeds. So make sure you stay glued to Global Television as we bring all of that your way. And yes, like I said, this is the center of our conversation. Stay tuned to Global Morning and do not miss out on all our discussion we'll be having today. Until I come your way next time, please stay safe and bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Boss Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction, Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On global television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on global television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
At which
It's an exciting day. I don't know if it's because today is Friday, but then there is a way. Money have a language that a lot of people don't understand. But everybody feel they understand the language of money. And that's why they said money is spirit. Even people around me are celebrating. There is this gender, I don't want to go there because if they hear money, you know what I'm talking about. But today, I want to look at post-subsidy era. You know, one of the policy Nigerians will never forget in a hurry is the subsidy that was removed, the floating of the naira. A lot of people may not know much about that, but they know that once upon a time, naira was almost 2,000 to $1. Nigerians will not forget that too. I grew up to hear of the dodgy payment. I didn't know what it is. I think the subsidy that was removed is going to last that long, probably. But then, do we have benefits, importance coming from this that some Nigerians may not know? What has it done to the economy? Because the government of the day made us to understand that this is for the benefit of Nigerians and the economy of the country, which is in time going to result to a whole lot. We have our guests join us in the studio this morning as we look at this a very fantastic topic for you this morning. He's been here before and he's here again. I told him the last time he was here that we are going to have him again, and he is here. He is, of course, his titles are so many, so I won't bore you with the titles, but then he's a very senior person as it has to do with accounting. He's the MD and CEO of Allard Finance Limited. He's a financial, tax and training consultant, and he is going to talking to us today. He's an economist, expert. If you talk about economy, talk about tax, talk about finance,
he got you covered.
He's there. All right, he's a consulted for so many firms and so many individuals, government, everyone. Now we have with us in the studio, in the person of Hafiz Ismaila. It's good to have you join us this morning, Mr. Hafiz.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Hafiz.
And
Thank you for making our time.
Thank you for having me too as well.
It appears the subsidy was removed for the sake of some persons, maybe for the sake of the economy, but Nigerians have refused to forget subsidy removal. Is it too early to forget it, or is it because probably the hunger is escalating, is increasing every day? A lot of people are packaging now just to at least fit into what the country is saying. But on the whole, what do you think are the post effects of subsidy removal?
All right, thank you for having me. Good morning once again. And let me first start. No one wants to look at the post impact of subsidy removal. I think we need to dimension it in two phases.
Okay.
Yeah, dimension in two phases is that on the citizen and on the general economy. Yeah. But power before that, we need to first understand the concept of subsidy itself so that people have an understanding of what we're talking about. You know, when government say they are subsidizing, it's like they have looked at a very essential commodity that affects every one of us, and they've looked at the market price and they've seen that, okay, this market price is something that the citizen may not be able to have the capacity to fund. Let's say, for example, this laptop is an essential commodity and it's going to cost 10 naira. The government has said, okay, don't worry, go and buy this laptop. We understand that it's an essential commodity. We're going to pay 7 naira on your behalf. Then you will pay 3 naira. That is where the concept of subsidy comes to play. However, one of the misconceptions that Nigerians didn't understand is that this subsidy in question is not being financed by revenue of the government. It's being financed by borrowing.
Okay.
You understand my point? It's being financed by borrowing. And in reality, for some of us who play in the financial industry, we know that when you borrow for consumption, it doesn't really create value, unlike when you borrow for production. You understand my point? Because the reality is that Nigeria Nigeria is a member of OPEC, and the oil price is being detected at the international market. It's what happened at the international market that also translates to what they really need to sell at the local market too as well. At that time, the average price of petroleum price is very high. So government have said, okay, because it's high, I understand that this has a lot of impact in Nigeria. Let's try to subsidize it. Now, and that is what the aspect of subsidy comes to play, because we don't even have a local refinery that is functioning until when Dangote came on board. Because you could remember that all the ones being managed by NNPC, we keep hearing stories here and here that billions of naira have been pumped into that. So the reality is that when this current government came in about 3 years ago, at that point, Nigeria is already sitting on a keg of gunpowder. At that point, you're just waiting for it to just explode. They don't have a better decision to do than to just remove it at that time. If not, Nigeria will have been bankrupt. Let's take, for instance, what happened in Iran and this other Middle Eastern country, the war that was going on. Imagine subsidies have not been removed. What would have happened to us today? Fine, the pain is there, but we also need to fight for our survival. What the government of today were trying to do is that they were actually fetching from a dry well. What I mean by a dry well is that there's nothing in place. So they have to reset the economy. So in resetting the economy, these are kind of material policies that need to be taken. It's a very harsh one, and that is why I salute the courage of the current president. That is a man of courage. He's a man that actually knows what he's doing. Now, someone would have said, okay, when you are removing subsidy, why don't you create a buffer? You see, we need to understand our people. I'm a trainer. When I want to go and train, there is something I normally do. I try to understand my participant first. Because I may be training a media outfit like you, maybe you and people in channels, but the way I may approach that training may be different if I understand who you are and understand people who are in channels or AIT too as well. You need to understand Nigeria. If the president didn't take that decisions on that day, on that spot, it may be difficult for him to take that decision. Because these are things that the successive government power before his own time have been trying to do, but they could not do it. You know, I said it on your platform before that we have what we call civil servant bandits. People that are being sponsored to frustrate whatever policy that will be beneficial to Nigerians. Because when you have a system that is inefficient, I want to tell you today that some people are beneficiary of that inefficiency. And when you are coming on board to make a change, they will look for a way to make sure they frustrate that process. So people need to be guided and understand the concept of that subsidy. It was actually being funded from borrowing. And if you don't borrow for production, it won't really create value. It's just like you take a loan, instead of it to start up a business, you went to that to buy with one, to buy shoe, to buy clothes, to change your earring, to change. What value has it created? But if you take that loan to start small business, maybe like selling bags to your colleagues in the office, or selling some kind of food stuff to your colleagues in the office, you are creating value. There's a multiplier effect at that time. Now, coming down to the citizen, yes, you know, energy cost is a primary cost driver in the sense that it affects a lot of things. Now, when subsidy was removed, one of the effects to every Nigerian is that cost of transport went up because we use fuel for transportation, we use fuel for our farming activities and other business activities. Cost of transport went up.
Yes, it did.
If I ask you today now that how much are you earning? If you tell me X amount is what I'm earning, Mr. Hafiz, you know that Mr. Hafiz, I'm sorry, 80% of my money is going for transport.
Very true.
Now that affects the purchasing power of every Nigerian. There's no, you know, for you to make success in life, you have to make a sacrifice. So that purchasing power that is being experienced among every Nigerians today is like a sacrifice. It's a pain, but with time, that pain will definitely go. And that is where we need the government to roll out policies now to see policies that can consolidate all these reforms. So that pepper seller on the street, that akara seller on the street can actually benefit. That is the expectation now, as far as I'm concerned. Government needs to work with the subnational government and the local government to see how truly this thing can actually translate. So one of the effects to citizens is purchasing power fell down. There is high cost of living,
yes,
whether you like it or not, which is affecting everyone. Because even though some of us who are doing a well-to-good job, we are not resting, there is calls from everywhere. You need this assist, this okay, this one should say assist me, this one will call you for money, that one will call you for. But if they are okay, they won't call you. That is the difficult truth. So purchasing power fell down. Then on the aspect of government, yes, we have the short-term effect, the long-term effect. At the short term, there is inflation. If you look at it, after the subsidy, there was high interest rates. People who borrow money from the bank, they have to reprice their facilities, and this is going to eat their operating costs. Manufacturing companies were feeling the heat too as well because of high interest rates in loans and advances. But on the positive side to the government, there have an increase in government financed. The physical receipts have expanded. Government have been able to put some of these savings into infrastructural development and the priority sector of the economy. But the truth of the matter is that today, that even though if the macros numbers are looking good in terms of inflation, in terms of external reserves, in terms of growth in GDP, in terms of growth in GDP, the question we need to ask, my brother, is all these things that we're saying that, okay, the numbers are looking good in terms of KPI, in terms of the macro to the government. Now, how can my mother in the village benefit? How can your dad in the village benefit? How can the vulnerables in the society feel the impact that, okay, fine, something has been done? I can remember that the current Minister of Finance Taiwo, was it last month? And I think at the forum when they asked a question about this subsidy savings, he said that now it has actually been channeled to debt servicing debt servicing of government. And you know, when Naira was being floated, we now have a market-based foreign exchange system. Whether we like it or not, our dollar position of our loans and advances, the value will change because of that. Now, the reality now is that if you look at it critically, that from that time and now, whether we like it or not, some certain things came in place. You know, it may not touch everybody, but at least some citizens felt an impact. For instance, it was during this government that we have NEM fund, whereby government are now giving loans to students for their tuition fee and providing monthly allowance. That has to be financed from somewhere. So we can say this is a benefit of subsidy savings. Minimum wage was 30,000 naira before this current government, but it's now 70,000 naira now. So there's an increase of 40,000 per head. We can also say, okay, fine, these are also one of the benefits of this subsidy savings too as well. If you look at it across all the 6 geopolitical zones, a lot of infrastructural work are already going on. We have I can mention some that have actually plowed through, like Abuja to Lokoja, Shagamu Ore Road is being worked on. Akure to Ore too is being worked on as I speak to you. Someone said Kano to Maduguri is being worked on. I didn't pass through that road. What is it called? Funta, that is in Castina, to Sanfara. A particular road is being worked on. All these roads, whether you like it or not, money is actually being deployed into there for them to be able to, for it to be done. You understand? So we can say, okay, fine, some of this subsidy saving has actually been channeled to all these areas. Like I said, we have NEL fund, we have minimum wage increment from 30 to 70,000 naira.
Which cannot even sustain the ordinary Nigerian.
Which cannot sustain ordinary.
So I wanted to, I know you've said a lot when it comes to the impact of the subsidy removal and all of that, but most Nigerians will actually say, Mr. Hafiz, for as much as you've said it. Now there's the individuals, that's the labor, they are coming out to say that some are saying that 70,000 naira cannot even sustain anyone when it comes to house rent, school fees, education, all of that encompass. When you say the removal of subsidy and the way that it has removed from us as Nigerians, many people will tell you that they've not even felt that impact at all, despite all of these changes that you've stated. But still, there's so much inflation in Nigeria. There's so much unemployment. There is so much high in transportation. There is so much rise in this, that basic amenities for you and I as Nigerians. Don't you think the rule was supposed to douse all of these things? Before we talk about NEL fund, the highway construction and all of that, let's talk about the basics that is with us here and now that is actually biting on Nigerians.
Yeah, I get your point, Ma, but you know, the reality is that for every reform, for every policy, there's something we call gestation period.
For how long?
Yes, I agree with you.
For how long?
Now, like I said earlier, that everybody who come out to speak would say, fine, the numbers are looking good. But I think it is now the time for the government to come up with a workable structure, create an investment vehicle, in the sense that how can this gain translate to a common man? We need to map out this. And this is my expectations from the government of today. You understand? How can impact be felt? What dimension should we deploy to ensure that, okay, fine, a common Nigerian will benefit? One of our key problems today in Nigeria is communication. Communication of government policies. Now, I will give you an instance. There are some development financial institutions in Nigeria today that have interventions program in their agencies, but you agree with me that most Nigerians are not aware that they are even qualified for these interventions. You understand? And there are government agencies, like we have Bank of Agric, we have Bank of Industries, and so on and so forth. So, and that's why I'm saying that government need to work on how they communicate their policies, their programs to the citizen. We still have a gap in that space as of today. Because whether we like it or not, for all these things we've said, we've floated in Naira, we've removed subsidy like you have said.
Exactly.
We need to feed. I also go to the market. When I go to the market, I don't know whether I'm APC or PDP, or whether I'm FC or AC. The same price they will sell to me, they will sell to you. I also buy fuel at filling station. So it's all biting on all of us. But government should come today and tell us that, no, this is their plan, implementation plan. They should roll out this, they should communicate. So if it is in place, they should make it public so that people are aware that this is what it is. I mentioned some roads. Kano, Abuja to Kaduna is being worked on, concrete. But the reality is that there is still pain in the economy. We need to tell ourselves the truth. There's still heavy pain in the economy. You know, people are frustrated. You understand? I don't know. Maybe some people are just there. They don't want the effort of this current government to show. Like I said, they are civil servant bandits. You understand my point? Maybe they just want the effort of this government to show. But the reality is that a lot is being done, but we are not seeing results.
But do people need to allow government's efforts to show before government show its efforts?
You know, that's why I talk about communication.
So why the communication gap? But the government is anything going on that Nigerians don't know. Why not communicating? We have the NOA and a host of others. What are they doing? They are taking salaries.
Well, I agree with you, but you know, there's a limitation that you and I can do about this. You understand? Government need to look at the critical aspects of the economy. Take a diagnostic analysis. What are those key areas that we believe that we need to intervene so that everybody can? One is transport, public transport. Did they need to invest in public transport? What model do they need to bring in place? Because if transport is being reduced to level, a lot of Nigerians will have more disposable income. Yes or no? I tell you today, go and look at the statistics. 70% of Nigerians workers today, their take home, from their take home, 70% of it is on transport. Go and check. If not, yes, 70%.
Everybody, we are aware because we transport, so we buy food, so
now
we know.
So now that I've said that, okay, public transport is a critical area that government can provide interventions into. And that is why I said that the federal government needs to work with the subnational government, that is state governors and local government, to see how all these critical areas can be addressed. Maybe at local government level, they can say, okay, what can we do to ensure that, okay, there's public transportation? It's a key area. Another aspect is also food, and that is where agriculture will come into place. Well, let's look at the value chain of the agricultural sector. What area do we believe that, okay, if we provide interventions, it will materialize and it will get to a common man, whether I would like it to know. These are areas that government now needs to start looking at, gradually taking a diagnostic analysis of it, like I've said, public transportation, food, and other priority sector or areas too as well. And I come up with a workable plan to see what can we do to ensure that, okay, a common Nigerian actually see the benefit of today's government. And I think this is the work that is now being expected of the current government today. Yeah, the numbers are looking good, but numbers cannot be looking good on paper and we are not seeing the reality.
The impact.
So to see the impact is about impact. So it's not about making noise. I tell people, there's a difference between you being loud and you being having an impact. Yes, it is good on paper, but let's see the actualization of what you have on paper on every Nigerian today.
You know what, Mr. Fitz, you know, like I've always mentioned here, the numbers might be looking good. We might see all the numbers, but most Nigerians don't even understand what these numbers are saying. Because when, like you mentioned, you go to the market every day and then you are wondering, you go with a certain amount and you're wondering, oh my goodness, is this all I got? Is this all I just bought? They do not understand what this impact or these numbers that are looking good is all about. So like you said, there is a barrier when it comes to communication for individuals to know that, okay, this is, the reforms are here and it's going to be the betterment of you as an individual, your family and all of that. But yet you still wonder and you say to yourself, it has lingered for a while now, and yet there is no change that we see. Most people will tell you, for as much as you've mentioned Nelfund, you've mentioned the construction of roads, but yet it is still taking a toll when it comes to basics, just the basic amenities that you and I need as Nigerians.
Well, for me, you know, like you just said, I think the reality is that the government of today have more work to do They have to reset their strategy. They have to calibrate their programs. You understand? They have to strategize, because if they go out there today and they hear what the public are saying, it's not quite different from what you've just said now. And if you are getting this kind of feedback, for me, I think they really need to reset their programs to see how truly every Nigerian will be happy. Because Nigeria is too rich for us to be poor. I tell people, Nigeria's issue is not revenue. Our problem is how to spend the money.
Really?
Yes.
Well, how is that so?
See, if you see a young boy today of 15 or 20, and you just pump, let's say, 10 million into his account, I can bet you the first thing that will come to his head is to go and get an apartment or hotel and bring in girls. He won't think of how can I invest this money into a venture or a business that will create value. Nigeria's problem is not revenue, it's how to spend the money. That's our problem. I don't want to go into our budget because that is not the topic for today, but it's just a crap, to be honest with you. You know, there are times that you see some physical projects, and if they tell you that this fiscal project, if they tell you the amount that was embarked to get it executed, you will now ask yourself, in reality, does it really worth it? A project that should cost about maybe 100 million, and you are seeing them putting 500 million. That is a waste of resources. In fact, my advice to this current government today, if they come back again for a second term, before the president signed the budget, you should subject the budget to another due diligence. Call consultant to come and help you do a review of the budget. If there is a duplication of projects in the budget, bring it out. If you bring it out, we'll give a certain percentage of that value. I can tell you we see people that will do it.
Okay, invariably you're trying to say the government is not aware of budget padding, fake agencies getting budget allocations and all of that. Are you saying government is not aware that they need somebody to bring it out and tell them that this is what is there? Is that what you're saying?
My brother, if somebody explains Nigeria to you and you tell me you understand, he has not explained Nigeria to you, because Nigeria is very complex. You see, to be a leader in Nigeria is not a small boy game. Even though as a class captain in school, we know what it is to be a class captain, to manage a class. Not talk of you being in government agencies and things. You know what you've just said? You know me, for me, you can't give what you don't have. You who come to equity must come with clear hands. You understand? If there's any inefficiency happen, there's an insider that is part of it. I was a student union leader when I was in school, a great one for that matter, and whenever we make policies among us, before we step out from that meeting, management are aware. When they are also trying to take decisions too as well about us, before they step out, we are also aware. So one day I asked her what is going on, and I did that analysis. And I realized that the same way we students have informants in management also have informants in us. So if you talk about fake agency, this and this, go and check very well. There's an insider that is part of it. I came into your house. You kept something in your room. You said, Afis, go and bring that thing in my room for me. I can't know where that item is if you don't tell me. You understand? But if I have somebody who stays with you, that now whisper in my head and say, Mr. Afis, that thing is XYZ, and insider have compromised. Yes or no? So if you say there is budget padding, that means there is compromise within the government setting. That is just the reality.
No, the reason why I said that is because you said before anything budget, the government need an expert, a consultant, all right, to go through it. If there is anything, a repetition of project, all right, a repetition of project, let's just use the word inconsistency in the budget, the person should find it out as an expert, whether it's fake agency, whether it's duplication, whether it's over floated amount and all of that. Are you now saying the people preparing Nigeria budget, from the presidency to the National Assembly to the House of Rep and every other person involved are not expert enough, that we have been having inconsistencies in our budget, not just with this administration, but since before now.
Yeah, okay, I'm not saying they are not experts, but this topic is not the topic for today. Let's close down on what we are here this morning. Because what you're asking me is a very...
No, it's because of what you said.
No, it's a very...
It's just a follow-up question.
No, it's a very elaborate question that you're asking me, to be honest with you. And not that they are not experts. The reality is that, my brother, we know what is right, but we don't just want to do it. That is just the typical truth. All these people know what is right, but they don't just want to do it. I said something earlier on. Nigeria is a country where if there's an inefficiency in one area, and you come in as an head to make that you want to change that inefficiency, people who are beneficiary of that inefficiency will never allow it to work. I'll give you one example. Wike today now, I can bet you, if Wike leave FCT minister today, in 3 days to come, you see a lot of propaganda about him. Despite all what he's doing, that we are all seeing, that is visible. There was a time they wanted to change, I don't know, airport, they wanted to be using card, that they don't want to do cash collection again. Were they able to do it? Are they not collecting cash?
Yeah.
To let you know that cash collection that they are doing, some people are benefiting. And I know that once that cash collection stop, that leakage, once that collection stop, that revenue leakage will also what? Will also stop. People who are beneficiary of that process are not allowing it to work. So that's why I said Nigeria is a very complex state. You can only try your best. People who are shouting this XYZ, when they give them opportunity, can they do better than what is going on? Like the opposition today saying the government is bad and Nigeria people are crying this on it. And I tell some of my friends who are in the opposition, me, I'm an APC member, but that does not mean I won't speak the fact. I said, it's not about the president is bad. Come up with your own strategy. Make it known to Nigeria. Go and sell yourself to Nigeria that, okay, if it is wrong for government to remove subsidy, come and tell us why it is wrong. If it is wrong for government to float the naira, come and tell us why it is wrong. If it is wrong for government to create now fund, come and tell us why it is wrong. If it is wrong for government to increase minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000, come and tell us your own. If it is wrong for government to invest in infrastructural facility, come and tell us your own. If it is wrong for government to invest in Lagos to Calabar Road, come and tell us. Lagos to Sokoto, come up with your own, come and sell it to Nigerians. It's not about being seated somewhere and keep shouting, today's government. I have a boss I work with. Anytime you go and take an issue to her, he will tell you, and I will never forget in my life, he said, Hafiz, don't bring issues to me without solution. So if I'm going to her and doing a transaction and I'm unable to conclude, he wants me to have my own solution at hand. To say, okay, ma, yes, I have an issue with this transaction, but I think if we go this route, we'll get it done. I learned that lesson in my life when I was in the bank. That was what she told me. She said, Hafiz, don't ever bring the problem to me without solution. Not that she doesn't have what to hide, she doesn't have what to also add to it, but she's preparing me. That me too, I should also be able to also think outside the box.
It's a mentality that it's possible, it can be solved.
So what she's trying to prepare me that without coming to me at your level, it can also get it resolved. And I picked that lesson.
So, Mr. Hafiz, what you're trying to say now with all of this now, with what is happening here, most people just come out with the problems that we're having, but no solution.
No solution.
And that is why we're not moving forward.
You can't move. The government cannot do it alone. I don't have to be a minister of finance before I can render my own effort to the government. I'm trying to do something in my constituency now. I have a foundation I'm working on, my Allard Foundation, and I said the government can't do it alone. And I picked this from what the First Lady said one time in one of the broadcasts. She said she was pointing to Davido and Co. that no, they also need to come and see how they can use their wealth to also create value, make an impact. That it's not about having too much of cars, it's about impact. And I picked that message from her that day. And I sat down and I said, okay, Hafiz, at my level, how can I make impact in my constituency? And I said, okay, I may not have the money today, but I pray God will make me have money too as well and count me among the big boys. But I have network, I have people, I know people across board. And I said, okay, if that is the case, why don't you create a foundation, sell your ideas and program to all these people that you know, to all my reach. If they make contribution, I can go back to my constituency, look at the vulnerable people, like the market women, give them some soft loans or some soft capital.
Funds.
100,000, 200,000 can go a long way in some people's business.
Very far.
Yes, it can.
The youth, what can I do? The widows in my constituency, what can I actually do for them? If I get these funds and I try to channel into all this program, whether I like it or not, at my level, I've made an impact. I don't need to have billions in my account to do that. The government of today cannot just do it alone. Now, if I should do that, I've been able to solve some little problem. Whether I like it or not, people will appreciate my effort. I'm not contesting, but I just felt that let me use the network I have today to make a positive impact to my people. Because you have to start from your own first. That is my consistency. You understand my point? So people are just shouting X, Y, Z, like you have said. Let's have a solution. What is the roadmap? People are crying on the street. We've removed subsidy. What should be the roadmap?
But Mr. Fizz, let me ask a question. For as many Nigerians that are as curious as I am will say, why is it that there's always this finger pointing at the government, at the administration? Because they feel that they have all the resources and all it takes to actually solve this problem. Don't you think that is why we tilt or we think towards that position?
Madam, let me ask you. They are saying government, president. Now, since this administration came on board, go and check. FAC allocation have increased, yes or no? About close to 27 state governments were borrowing to pay salaries based on information. Now they are not going to pay salary. Now what are the governors doing in their various states, madam? Let's ask ourselves that question.
Your guess is as good as mine.
So why everything is on
Mr. Fizz? No. Government. The governors are part of governance.
They are part of governance.
So it's not, people say government, not president.
If anybody today a lot is being channeled to Ashwaju.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? There are a lot of Nigerians now, like we're talking about orientation. If you say government, the first place their mind goes to is the president.
Yes.
But in the real sense of it, if anybody say government, the local government council chairman,
yes,
every of his officials, down to the state, all right, down to the house, the state assembly to the house, everybody, and every other leader, all right, in government position, they are part of governance. All right, even though all Nigerians are government because it's democracy, of course. But then, don't you think that, like somebody said, the resources we have in Nigeria, if it is well managed,
yes,
all right, we won't be where we are today. You talked about you carrying out a foundation just now. If you have the wherewithal, but now you are devising a means because of your connectivity. Now, don't you think that if the right thing is being done by people in government, this money, all right, in fact, the resources, let me use the word because Nigerians are not asking for too much. These resources will trickle down to everyone, and this burden of calling the government all the time will reduce.
You know, like I said, I do tell people, you know, when there's money in everybody's pocket, is the best. Not for money to just be in one person's pocket. I think we still have this slavery mentality. People are always happy when XYZ comes to them.
Beg them, Ogami.
As a citizen, we need to change our orientation.
Good.
See, education is one of our key problems. Poverty has been weaponized. You understand? And I tell people, you know, one of the greatest diseases in life is when you are broke. I don't pray to be broke in my life, and I don't pray any one of us is broke. Because if you are vulnerable at that time. Whatever comes your way, you key into it. You are seated here today, I'm seated here today, it's because we are busy, yes or no? And I do mind the devil's workshop. And these are things that, for me, some of us who God have put in one position or the other, and we have good intentions, we need to come and see how we can kill it. This poverty that has been weaponized. Because when some people are, when the election comes and when you vote, they give you money, maybe it's 5,000, 10,000 or something. I tell people that thing is a cost. If you should vote in Nigeria and you collect money, it's a cost. And I'll break it down. You have said to yourself that you are poor to that level. That is where you accepted that money. But if you don't accept that money, what you have proved is that God has blessed you beyond what they are about to give you. Because I know so many times when I will go to the house, to my local government and vote, and they will say I should go and take one number. I said, one number for what? And they said, so that they can give me my money. I said, I flew from Abuja to Lagos to come and cast my vote. Do you know how much is my air ticket, return ticket? And you asked me to go and take paper and collect 15,000 or 10,000 at my level. I said, no, God forbid. May God not put me in that position where I will go and vote and I will be collecting money. We need to start from there first as a Nigerian. And Peter Obi have proven at last election that vote actually counts. Me, I can say it.
I saw it too. I saw it.
He has actually, and I don't want to go to that because I have a lot to also say about that aspect. But he has actually proved, but we didn't develop more on it. We need to see how we can destroy this aspect of vote buying. This is where it's actually, this is where it's going to start from.
But is it possible, though, Mr.
Yeah, there's nothing impossible. We have to start from somewhere. When I was a union leader in LASU, there was a particular election. I and some of my colleagues in other faculty, we said, if there's any aspirant candidate who is a courtist, we'll make sure that he doesn't win. We held that meeting. And truly, that election of that year, no single candidate emerged that was a courtist member. Anyone we know, we voted against it. We make sure we tell our people not to vote that particular candidate. They cannot be after they got there, but before they got to that position. We have to change that narrative. So there's nothing impossible. It's a gradual process. Like I said, when I was making reference to Peter Obi's election, was my estate. You could see how big men were at the polling booths. Big men, they brought generator, they brought food. They waited till 11, 12 midnight to make sure that everything was okay. To make sure that everything was actually okay in that election. And truly, nothing was compromised at that election on that day.
It happens across the country, where a lot of people came out with food, like you said. Some came out with food, some generators, some data. They said it must be uploaded.
It was uploaded. They provided those.
I also saw something.
So what I'm saying is,
but how can we make that work?
So what I'm saying is that the resources are there. It's just the management of the resources, and it's like a process. It's not something that can just be overnight. You can just get through it. Like I've said, poverty have been weaponized. Is it somebody that's hungry is catching? He has not eaten breakfast, lunch, dinner.
For 2 days.
So for 2 days,
looking for there to even borrow money.
Someone wants to give 2,000.
You will take it. See, my brother, may we never be vulnerable in our life.
Amen. Oh.
May we never be broke in our life.
All Nigerians, amen to all of us.
That is my prayer. If people are okay, nobody will take that money.
But Mr. Fis, aside what you have just said now, I said this, I spoke to one of our guests that was here, and I said, we need an orientation. Nigerians need that orientation. Why, if you accept these money, what you are doing to your life, your future, the future of your children, all of that. But most people, I watched on social media, there was the clip I saw. Was it? No, not really. I think so. With
celebrating 15,000 naira.
Not with one, and then there was one with, is it 5 kg or is it 2 kg of rice or gari given to them? And they were actually giving out their PVCs and collecting it.
Yes.
I was like, do they really understand what they're
doing? The implication of what they are doing.
So I think that orientation needs to. Nigerians need to
let me tell you the truth. Let me just summarize it. All these things that we are saying borders on personality. That is just typical truth. There are some people that are okay that will still take that money. I go to vote and I see people killing and I will be laughing that guy. You are also someone that this is the only way they can eat from the government. This is the only opportunity they have. So these are the things we need to change. Orientation, education. You understand? It will make an effort, but not that you can actually finally ratify. Like I've said, Obi election, 70% of people that voted for Obi, I'm sure they didn't collect money. in the last election. Go and check. Whether they spent their own money, their own time, and their own resources. So we can have something like that going forward. Nigeria will be in a better place.
All right. Well, our time is up. Well, it's been a very wonderful time with Afeez. We'll look forward to more development. Government try not to weaponize poverty, mentality being changed so that everyone can think positively and not pose yourself all the time as a poor person and vulnerable person. Thank you very much, Afeez.
Smiler, CEO Orland Investment. Thank you so much for being a part of Global Morning.
All right, everyone. This is the size of the first conversation. Let's get into the second conversation immediately after this break. Stay with us.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.